What's up, beautiful people? It's your girl, it's Leanne, and it's another heart-based community podcast series with my divine brother, Andrew Rezmer. Welcome to the show, Andrew.
Thank you.
You can see me, you can hear me?
Can see you, can hear you, and you can see me. I'm very enlightened today.
I love it. Yes, we want to bring more light into the New Year's. And with that being said, this podcast is all about a recap on 2022 and gratitude, and how we can hold space for gratitude, how we can hold space for the things that we have spoken about, the things that we're growing, the things that we're looking into. And that's what this moment is all about. It was an idea of mine today. And for any of the listeners that have a chance to see that love myself or love Andrew and love contributing, make sure you leave your comments and direct message us if you have any questions about any of the things that we've been talking about. So during the journey of 2022 with Andrew Rezmer, what have we learned with Blissed Out? We've gone from In the Light of Love podcast. We started with that and we moved into shining the light. So there's a lot of topics that were spontaneous in sharing who we are, where we've come from, why we're contributing to an ideal conscious community network or an opportunity to invite or contribute to each other, which led to a heart-based community podcast series also. So I've been continuing that. We are on number 19. This is number 19 of the heart-based. So we've come from shining the light, In the Light of Love to Shining the Light. They've all had different series. We're now in the heart-based community podcast series. And the reminders to anybody who hasn't had a chance to hear or see or learn together with this beautiful flow is, where are we growing and what do we see we can contribute with our intelligence, with our individualities, and with our networks. So handing it over to Andrew. Andrew, where are you presently in your growth? In the last couple of months, you were traveling. Give us a head up on what you see for yourself from this year, what you're grateful for, and where do you see yourself going in 2023?
Well, it's. I think the purpose of life is to live, is to give. To live is to bring joy, happiness, and love to others and myself. And when I say others, it's not necessarily just my family or intimate partner or my best friends. I mean to others, other people. To live is to give. So I think this end of the year opportunity, I want to always have this invitation for myself and others to ponder on this question: what am I here to give? What is something that is unique to me, that I'm passionate about, that can make this world a better place, other people can enjoy more love, more kindness, more compassion, more understanding, more forgiveness, more growth. And that's what I'm spending next 24 hours pondering about. What is the gifts that I'm bringing? And I think it's important to redefine, because usually when we start a new relationship, it could be a business relationship, it could be a friend that we meet, or it could be intimate relationship, where we usually ask ourselves these questions, what am I looking for? And some people even have a list of, I'm looking for someone who has money. Let's say if it's a business relationship, someone who has skills, someone who has expertise, someone who, whatever, unless, or if it's intimate, someone who is attractive, tall, funny, independent, financial, whatever. There are expectations. And I want to invite myself and our listeners to start pondering on the questions: what is the list of the things that I bring forward to this new relationship? A relationship with the world, relationship with nature, relationship with people. And who do I want to, in that relationship, what do I want to bring? What do I want to grow in myself? What do I want to learn? What do I want to offer? How do I want to make other people grow or benefit from being in relationship with me?
So how's that been for 2022 going into 2023? What have you learned through your relationships? Like, what is the growth there you feel in the last couple months, or like, do you see any significant difference?
Well, I think the 2022, 2021, and 22 were very unique years because of what was happening in the world, where the confusion and misunderstandings and misrepresentations and misinformation, all those situations created a very challenging for some people situations where they didn't know whom to trust, what is truth, which advice to follow. And I've seen among my friends, even couples, situations where one was pro, one was against, and their beliefs, their commitments, their understanding, their feelings were so strong that it actually broke the relationship.
Mm,
Friends who are not friends anymore, a married couple are not married anymore because of what the world, what the others, what media, what governments were in projecting, informing, and how people understood this information. And some wanted to follow, some didn't. And so the learning I have from that is that it is important to know how to be the best human being, best person in the middle of the storm, in the
mm,
eye of the storm, because it's easy to be loving and kind and compassionate, all those things when someone else is, it has the same values, same understanding, same beliefs, same um, actions, and they are also loving and kind and compassionate and understanding. No, it's a heaven, right? I mean, it's easy to be the best person in that kind of circumstances. What if someone else believes in something different than us? What if uh, they act differently than what we would act in this situation? What if there is conflict? What if there is misunderstanding? What if there is confusion? Can
mm,
we be still the best version of ourselves
mm,
in those circumstances?
mm,
So even though 2001, 2021, 2022, 2020, very challenging, very trying years, but I hope that myself and I want to invite others to think what can we learn from it? What have we learned from it?
mm,
How can we grow from it? How can we become better because of it? Because it's easier sometimes to become a victim and say, okay, it's because of that I'm here or I'm this.
mm,
And sometimes there are situations, challenges in the world that um, it turns out to be different than what we're hoping for, and we could justify and become and feel like a victim.
mm.
But I think it's more valuable, more beneficial to ourselves and to others to look back and see what can I learn from it? How can I become a better person because of it?
I think there's a good thing to point out here right now as I flow and I listen to you is what could run across anybody's mind is a perception of what that could really mean for anybody in multiple ways of what is good in a situation as such. I feel the only thing that's drawing me in and having Blissed Out Network or you having Conscious Living Network is the conscious approach. So first of all, are we getting conscious with ourselves? Are we conscious of what our mind is yet? Are we conscious of our body? Are we grateful for all the foundational aspects every day in our own personal wholeness? And then coming into that realization is if we allow ourselves to hold space for our individuality or this greater whole of source energy that we connect to consciousness, then as we observe from consciousness, we can see the individuality of each individual, allowing us to share. Otherwise, we'd be meeting ourselves and everybody. Like oh, you get bored, right? So I feel like the highlight I would bring into what you're saying is creating space for the beauty of individuality, or the beauty of a dialogue, to truly
Mm,
listen to each other.
exactly. Yes. Because consciousness is not a destination.
Mm,
Consciousness is a path. Without an end. There's continuous um, turns and twists and opportunities to grow and learn something. As you know, when we meet another person, we can repeat what we know and look for validation in that other person. Oh yeah, you think like me. Oh yeah, you know this. Oh, we which the same movies, and we read the same books, and we have the same understanding, and we eat the same food. But like I say, that is potentially boring, or definitely not an opportunity to grow. It's to maybe reinforce our beliefs. That's important too. But there is so much value in meeting someone and seeing them for who they are, without trying to change them,
mm.
without trying to judge them, without trying to um, blame them. Is
Another highlight that was just coming through was also understanding from your life, wherever you are presently, knowing what you want. What is life itself, as a student of life, taught us what we want?
mm,
Why are we attracting each other? Why we think of each other? There's another topic on telepathy. I was reading about it just coming from the gym, and I was like, oh, 2023, what are the skills, or what are the things consciously that I have gained over the years? And even doing this heart-based community podcast or Shine the Light series in growth, is how are we aware of our connection to each other, first by connecting to our consciousness? And at what level consciously are we seeing the miracles of what we're thinking? And then somebody picks up the phone and they call us. Like, how much the fine beauty of this stillness and this consciousness that we have within us has an opportunity to show us how truly we are connected through our thoughts, even before we meet. And
mhm,
then our energetic body has a rhythm of beauty and bliss and benevolence, like a temple. It's like a temple. Like, if a simple touch can also feel so great, and bringing that awareness into gratitude for what have you learned in 2022? What have you learned about your consciousness? What have you learned in your connections? And that gratitude that you were thinking the same thing with the other person, and you had a really great journey together, whether it was at work, whether it was, in whatever you're doing with family life, or appreciating this life itself and the gift of life, to truly see the miracle of all these aspects of the mind together. Like, how many times I can say I'm grateful for when you're traveling and we connect, and I'm
mm,
like, that is a friend. 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 And the miracle of how we bring more of that telepathy into awareness of everything we're doing all day, through your children, through simply a friend picking up the phone when you thought of them. Like, this is a miraculous gift. Connecting.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What about you? What have you learned? What are you planning to do different
I am
in
planning to,
2022?
I'm really appreciating the goods and bads of this year, because of maybe what I've understood. We are all masters of our reality. There are things that come into play of being in survival mode, where the body goes through injuries. So that's something I've just learned in the last couple of months. And then there are things in consciousness and meditation where we draw in friendships that bring in new challenges for us too, depending on how sensitive or receptive that we are. But the surrender through trust, the surrender through knowing that there is something so much bigger than us that gives us this opportunity of consciousness. And as a collective understanding, is when we're in our lowest of lows, or when we're in our lowest of time to heal, have we recognized that that's also a conscious gift, even when we're unconscious of it happening through maybe another type of suffering or another type of joy. And that's what I've recognized throughout the years, like how many states of joy and how many states of suffering, or how many challenges, or how many push or pulls that I've been able to truly still stay still in my meditations regularly, to be an observer to the good and bad that are existing. And what are they teaching me? They taught me to continue my dharma, continue my path, continue with what works best for a happy life, what works best for everybody in a situation as we grow and learn. And I'm advancing myself in another 300-hour yoga program right now. Got all my books, excited about that.
You mean 300 hours?
So yeah, there's 200 and there's 300, and then you have a complete.
Because you said $300.
No, 300. Did I say dollars?
That's what I heard.
Hours. Sorry. I love that challenge of where the mind takes us. So yeah, so 300 hours is the second aspect of the advanced yoga training, and starting that at 15, knowing that it is something that we can use as a methodology to always come through all of our layers of emotions, or even physical body needs, and tension or compressions, and awakening of that, looking within, and then discovering that consciousness from that. That's really where it all started. When we started this a year ago, I talked about that, highlighting, where this all started when I was 15 years old. So I'm really grateful that even through a challenging time right now with an injury, that I took it upon myself to re-educate myself and to further my education, so I can serve, so I can continue to serve myself mentally, where I can serve to hold space for other people when they're in their growing aspects with consciousness.
You know what was happening? Remember just before, a couple of minutes ago, you were saying about, you think of a friend and he calls, or something happens like that, right?
Yeah.
You know what happened when you were talking about your 300 hours yoga training?
Yeah.
My Alexa, that is right here behind my phone, posted a question. What is the yoga pose for today? Alexa, what is the yoga pose for today?
Here is your yoga pose for December 30th, the dolphin. To get into this position, begin in downward facing dog.
Okay,
Lower
see?
Aw, that's
See?
wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, that is really wonderful. Yeah, I'm so grateful for that art. I really feel like even the books, when I just got into those books in the anatomy and the beauty of the confusion. So one highlight in the new book is called Your Body, Your Yoga. Is yoga, like we talk about consciousness, yoga is something that we're yoking into ourselves. And in the 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, it was prior to that, it was always done usually alone, where people were actually coming into their aloneness, where they'd have a master, or they would figure out how to do some asana work, or they would use those asanas to deepen their connection with consciousness. And as time rolls, and as the world is evolving to get massive amount of people doing it, or getting these teacher training courses on the roll, there is something to always be aware of, which I appreciate going back to teacher training for, because when you read into this, you see what the people genuinely have written about not being in a rush. How do we connect to that consciousness, or how we go into that ultimate state of samadhi, or the beauty of what yoga can truly yoke into with our consciousness, that vast cosmic bliss, Satchidananda, Om Namah Shivaya. How can we recognize those ancient teachings is to recognize also what we're doing to the ancient teachings. And so I look into both, and I see that fine line of the participation that the masters always said, be a participant into showing up and showing an offering to others, but be available for the now. Soham. Be truly available for what the consciousness can co-create as a reflective miracle of life itself. And don't get too consumed in being just a robot teacher, having all of the positions and knowing everything, because what you're doing to yoga is you're not available to the miracle of expansion of consciousness here and now. So that was really nice. I was reading into that and I said, you know, I look into what is life taught me the same thing. You're not expecting an injury and it comes, or you're not expecting a death and it comes, and you're not expecting that lover, even though you're projecting it and you know you want it. Be part of it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another beautiful part of what we can share and reflecting. What are we coming into with 2023 is be with it, be with the witness, the inner witness, and allow that bliss to flow and glow.
So be it. Thank you.
Yes, and so it is. So any last things that you want to share with Conscious Living Radio, Conscious Living Network, Blissed Out Community, Unite, where I'm going to post all this? What do you want to wish for everybody for the new year?
Well, let's make 2023 the best year ever.
Thriving?
Everything, whatever is best for each of us, and for environment, and for community, and for society, and for health, and for animals, and for future, and for consciousness. Let's make it the best ever.
Well, so good to be with you. I know you got some beautiful people waiting for you. I love having the opportunity to grow. We had a beautiful year together. I thought ending it with a reminder with the Heart-Based Community podcast number 19. That's Andrew Rezmer and Leanne. We're signing off. We love you. God bless you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Be good to yourself, and namaste.